Hello.
We're live.
Hi.
Jason, that's a spiffy shirt.
Hi.
I like that shirt.
Well, I thank you. I was feeling fairly spiffy today.
It's a very spiffy shirt. Rattlecan, what's going on?
Hello.
Lumberjack.
What's up, Tim?
What's going on? I was right on time today. Literally down to the 5-second mark.
Had me worried.
Right down to the 5-second
Had me. I was sitting in
mark.
here, biting my fingernails. Where the hell is Chris?
My uniform. Boop, 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 boop.
Where the heck is Chris?
I get to paint along today, Lumberjack. That's great.
Keep your eyes on the road.
Are you painting?
Both hands on the mini.
If you're painting and driving at the same time, you are a god amongst
Paint
men.
liquor, chai cat, what's going on? Rattle kid.
Okay.
Hola. ¿Cómo está?
Como está?
Muy
Good morning
muy
from
burrito.
Australia.
Australia?
Hey,
Well, hello.
speak of Australia.
I was going to say it's already tomorrow. More time travelers.
What's the lotto?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us the lotto.
You have to let us know what the lotto winning numbers are. That's the request for any of our Australian friends. You have to tell us what yesterday's lotto numbers were.
That's right. You have to. It's a part of our requirements here now. I'm pulling up our friendly neighborhood YouTube chat. Perfect. There we go.
Colossal meltdown. G'day, eh?
Painting this goblin from Rogue Hobbies. Nice.
Dark Mockery. What's going on, everybody?
Tim, I'm happy for you.
Hope the week is going well. It is, I don't know what today is. Wednesday, maybe?
I hope
today
so.
Wednesday? I feel like today might be Wednesday.
Okrim, what's going on? Anna. TK421. Dumb Marine.
TK421.
Now, we left off yesterday, Jason, was painting over, not repriming, painting over some of the gold.
We left off yesterday wondering why it is that Chris was on such a crazy streak.
Me?
You were being a crazy man yesterday.
Who knows what happened? I can't...
It's captured on video.
It is.
The internet knows.
That's really unfortunate.
That's really unfortunate. This damn internet thing keeps getting in the way of me being able to be the person I really am.
I hide nothing. I show you everything. No Discord update? What are you talking about, no Discord update?
I had a meeting from the beginning till now.
Oh,
we literally just walked in the office. So I apologize for no good morning on Discord. There's no excuse.
Wow.
I walked into the office today, got some cleaning material. That was at 7:15. I cleaned the inside of my windshield. Gabe and I jumped in the car, and we went to our meeting. Gabe and Kyle and I all had to do a meeting across town for 4 hours. We just got back. We went and had lunch after, and we literally just walked into the office to come straight into the stream. Filled my water glass, came to the stream.
What's up, Ranger? Yo, I've been MIA, but I'm glad to catch another stream. Well, we're glad you're back.
Welcome back.
That Chai Cat says, tried liquid pigments for basing. They're kind of wild. Actually made my basing look dusty and dry.
Yeah.
Liquid pigments? Isn't that just paint?
They don't have the same resins and stuff, so no.
Oh, okay. What do you do in a 4-hour-long meeting, says Sugar Rush.
It was more of a presentation, not a meeting. We sat and listened to a speaker. It was a sales management presentation. And I took the ops managers too. So
we do. And here is the link to our Discord. Boing. Right there.
I like the little sound effect there. Boing. Boing. That's exactly the sound I think of when I think of link to something Monument Hobbies. Boing.
To link to Monument Hobbies?
Isn't that what you just did? Just put a link?
I did. Boing.
There you go.
So what are we doing, Jason?
Painting.
What kind of painting are we doing today?
Acrylic with Pro Acryl, the best paint on the planet. If you don't have any, go buy some. If you don't buy some, well, I can't promise you live till tomorrow.
Wow. I guess that is a little bit.
That's what I learned from the sales
true.
thing, is to threaten your customers.
Well, good.
So I'm putting it into practice right out of the gates.
This is perfect.
We just went to a sales conference.
Very poignant.
We're back. I'm putting it into practice immediately. Buy my stuff or else. That's exactly what he told us. He said sometimes you just have to look past the niceties and force it on people.
Wow.
So now expect ticking boxes in your mail, and the only way to defuse the bomb is to pay the invoice.
Okay.
Lots of new practices coming from Monument Hobbies.
Great. Speaking of sales, do you know when the white rattle can will be in stock? It's been the best I can find. Nice.
Soon-ish. It's on the water.
It's actually
along with
swimming.
the gray and all that. So we hope very soon. The timing of things coming through customs has been thrown off, as you can imagine.
Hope everybody is having a good Wednesday. We're painting some blood angels, if you didn't know. If you can go back a couple weeks, we started painting these guys up.
Now you know.
Jason's on the mission to get this army on the table and painted. Tyler says, accidentally bought 2 Mortarians from eBay. What do I do? They both just arrived today. Make a double Mortarian.
Yeah, I think
Two-headed.
you double it up.
Why not? He's Nurgle, right? Make him fun.
4 wings, 4 arms, 4 legs, even more Nurgle.
There you go. The 4 wings actually would be kind of cool.
That's a lot of kit just to get 2 wings, though.
Breakup Google says Slowfuse living up to his name. Oh, wow, that's a call out.
What do you mean?
Breakup Google.
What I do?
Because you're. I don't know what you did. Maybe it's about your painting,
or is it about the unscrupulous business tactics we're about to employ?
I think both.
Okay, gotcha.
Brent, the programmer. I hear there's a good workup for non-metallic steel starting with dark yellow green.
Yes, you're seeing it come to fruition here. The dark yellow green gives a really good nuance to the background colors that I use on my steel. It's completely purposeful, and you should repeat it as often as possible. The first step in that whole thing is to completely cover the dark yellow green with Payne's gray. It's kind of like painting green bases.
And I guess with that logic, you should actually start with every pro acrylic color underneath what you're intending to paint, and then do the workup.
Oh, yeah.
You could do like 50 layers if you wanted.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Have you seen that 100-layer Necron?
I have. I would like us to do this.
It's kind of the same way. It's kind of the same thing, except totally different.
Stan, evening nerds. What's up, Stan?
Hello, nerds.
Wad, Big Bob.
Big Bobzilla.
Big Bob's okay. You know.
Just okay?
He's just all right.
I'm down with Big Bob.
He's all right.
Big Bob and me are bros. He made the world's most amazing cutting board for me.
He did.
He brings me chocolate milk and apple pie from time to time.
That's true. We missed you, Big Bob, at Nova this year. Sad face.
I missed you for your loving friendship. Chris missed you for the apple pie.
No, I don't like pie. I'm not a pie guy.
That's not what you said the last time.
I'm only strictly a pumpkin pie guy.
Oh, really?
I don't really like pie.
You don't like regular pie? Just
Not
pumpkin
really.
pie?
I just like pumpkin pie. Maybe pecan every once in a while.
Okay, pecan pie, huh? I love how you said pecan.
Pecan.
Are you?
Pecan.
No, I mean, like, are you
It's
a
pecan.
Texan in disguise? Because
Pecan
that's
pie.
where I grew up, and it was pecan pie.
Pecan pie. I don't know. Maybe.
Should talk to your mom about that.
NKH says, will this army include a Sanguinius? Do I recall you have one painted already, or was that a fever dream?
No, I have one that had been started to be painted. We are going to repaint him now that I've settled in on what the actual full color scheme of the army is going to look like. We'll repaint the armor, not the wings. I'm going to leave the wings the way that we did. But yeah, we have a Sanguinius. I don't ever plan on having a Sanguinius in my list, although that could change. I don't know. It wasn't one of my goals to put a Primarch in, but
maybe every once in a while get them in there.
I don't know.
It's kind of fun.
I think they cost too much for what they provide.
Oh, I see.
There may be some good ones out there, but from what I've seen, none of the Primarchs really offer you a whole lot. I mean, like Horus Ascended is a badass on the battlefield, but boy, talk about a lot of points. I'd rather put a Warhound Titan on the table than Horus.
Let's see. Canon says, the stream from yesterday inspired me. I added some color to a Demon Prince, started with dark warm flesh and kept glazing orange yellow and finished the edges with dark plum mixed with gloss varnish. Nice.
Awesome.
We're so glad you put some paint on the model, and I don't even say that sarcastically. That's a
every time what Chris is saying, they're trying to say here, is that every time somebody gets inspired by what we do, we an angel gets its wings.
Yep, it's a check mark for us.
A baby kitten gets adopted. Boy, I have to tell you, speaking of which, last night somehow my YouTube feed got inundated with it must be like National Adopt a Dog time.
Oh, did you get a bunch of
Holy mackerel, did I go to sleep nearly in tears because of these dogs that were in the shelters. I'm like, can we just have all the dogs? It was a good thing Jen was asleep, because I would have called her in there to watch some of these videos of the dogs, and one of them was from the Maricopa one.
Oh, boy.
I would have called her in there, and we would have had another dog. Because holy, amazing dogs.
I know not a lot of people.
There was this white and brown, kind of that brindle brown and white terrier mix, pit bull mix.
Yeah.
And she was just gorgeous. And I was like, oh my God. And of course, in the videos, they all have the Sarah McLachlan music playing, and they never look happy. They always look sad as hell. So it just really got me last night. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I just need a good cry session or something, but last night was one of those where I was like, you know what? I need all the dogs.
I need all the dogs.
I need all the dogs.
Yeah,
sometimes you just
in
need
Arizona, there's a very large amount of Chihuahuas out there. I know a lot of people don't like Chihuahuas. I actually do. I grew up with them.
Yeah.
And there's so many. Not people buy them, or they'll buy them or adopt them, and then they can't handle them.
Chihuahuas are a lot.
They're
a lot.
They are dog cats, and they're more aggressive.
Yeah,
and
it takes a lot of loving.
People get rid of them, and it's so sad to me.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that if you're going to buy a dog, it's like it's like having a child. It's like you can't just get rid of a dog. You're going to get rid of your child? You horrible human. Yeah. But I've done it. And so last night was very reflective for me, because I'm like, oh my God, I've had one dog that in my life, well, two actually. One of them was a rescue from a friend who was moving, and I was like, you can't put the dog in a shelter.
Yeah.
And so I was an interim foster home for the dog until we got him rehomed onto a farm. He was a boxer, and he was a handful.
Yeah.
But he had been an outdoor dog on a farm, and then he had to come live in my apartment. So I knew what I was getting myself into to some extent.
Tough.
But I still never forgave myself, because I'm like, that's a trauma for a dog.
Yeah, what's crazy too is that it's funny because I grew up with hunting dogs.
Yep.
And my dad had hunting dogs, and my mom was like, I want a small dog, and then I want a little dog.
It sounds exactly like your mother. That was great.
And he's like, all right, I'm gonna get one.
And he got a Chihuahua.
I'm gonna go find the smallest one I can find.
And you got a Chihuahua, huh?
Yeah.
Chihuahua.
Lot of personality. Those dogs.
They are nothing but personality.
That's it.
In the worst way.
Invitation Margarine says, I went back and watched the VOD where you did the hot metal claws on the Dreadnought and tried the same technique on my Saturn IX Praetor's axe. Really great effect, super easy to follow. Nice.
Good. Yeah, it was really easy. That's one of the things that I stated in that one, which I'm glad you tried it, is that it just is something that you just follow the steps, and it's easy to do.
Yep. And I gotta figure out how I would like to clip that one, because that one was a very good one. So I will do that. Put it on my list.
Hey, Chris?
Yes, sir.
You should do that.
Should I do that? Should I do that for everybody?
Chris. I think you should do that, Chris.
I should get on that.
So today, what we've learned, it's been a heck of a start to the show if you haven't been here for the whole thing. We've learned that, number one, Monument is going to start taking a very guerrilla warfare approach to sales, because we went to a new sales meeting today.
I'm sure everybody's hyped.
Yeah, we're super hyped. Everything's going to start coming in a ticking bomb package. you're just going to get product you haven't even ordered. And the only way to diffuse the bomb is to pay the invoice. So that's our new tactic in sales. So be ready for that, chat. And the other thing is that I want all the dogs. So we went from Jason is an amazing human and wants to rescue all the dogs to he will also send you letter bombs.
Okay.
With COD. COD letter bombs. It's going to be all the rage. I'm telling you. I'm going to make a book, and it's going to be a New York Times business bestseller.
Okay. I could see that for you.
That's my goal. My life goal now is to become a best-selling author of a business book that teaches people how to coerce their customers into sales via violence. Threat of violence. Oh, you'll buy it or it'll go off.
Here's a question. Have you looked at
Chris doesn't like this conversation. He keeps derailing me.
I'm sorry. We got a question here.
You're not sorry at all.
H.R. Geiger art?
Yeah, the guy that did the art that inspired Aliens.
Do you have any recommendation for the colors? I'm trying to build a Necron theme around it.
I mean, a lot of his stuff was black and white. If you're looking at colors, he did a lot of stuff that was just in like muted ochres and things like that. So there's not a ton unless you have a piece you are wanting to share with us that has something else. Geiger, most of his stuff was like very sketchy black and white. Very dark. But the bulk of what I'm familiar with is the alien, type stuff. So if you have a piece that, has a color scheme, link it for Chris and he'll try to bring it up on screen. Although we don't really like to click links here.
Yeah. Goblin Twink says, what's the best kind of brush to use with a brush-on primer bottle, and do I thin it? Good old Vincey V said it was the best. It's amazing.
Any brush you want. It's there's no special need. I think it's really just about size, So something like a number 4 or a number 6 if you're base coating, because that's really what a prime coat is like a base coat. So you want a fairly large brush. You don't necessarily need a detail brush because you're probably, when you're priming, not worried about, detail areas. You're just slopping paint on. And no, you don't have to thin it. You just a little bit of water on the brush so that the paint flows off, and you're good to go. Easy peasy. It really is simple.
How much time do we have with these bombs? Would you say they have a slow fuse? Face bomb.
Ba-bam! I like this person already. Who was that?
Xenobond.
Xenobond, winner.
Sales through violence. Do you work for State Department? Hey, those are our tax dollars you're talking about there.
Ooh, I wonder if there's a way we could get our tax dollars to pay for more Procurl.
Hi, friends. Y'all rock for streaming. Thank you. Danger, you rock for coming in.
Let's get a lobby set up. A nerd lobby.
Like with like water and like snacks?
And like a political lobby.
Oh, a lobby.
Yeah, that's what I said. And what it's going to do is it's going to entice and coerce through letter bombs our elected representatives to institute a thing whereby Monument Hobbies and Procurl Paint get government funding because we are essential to the security of the United States.
I could see that.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't you think I'm on a good thing here?
Today
is a day of revelation.
That's good. I'm happy for you.
I'm happy for you. Chris is like, where do I resign before this gets too far out of hand and we say letter bomb too many times for Twitch and the FBI shows up or something?
And
I don't think you're supposed to say letter bomb on
Gonna have to edit out those bits. Violence? Question marks?
We get turned in by like some new viewer. New viewers, I would like to warn you that the things you see on this channel do not always reflect the true nature of Monument Hobbies.
None of this is real and will not be happening. You will not receive these kinds of weapons in the mail unless there's zero chance that will happen. So I just covered us legally. Stan says, Jason, where did the name Slow Fuse come from?
Can I, before I answer that, can I just go off and say that the new unboxings of our product are going to be off the charts? Like Instagram is not even ready. TikTok not even ready for what's about to happen.
Because of the bomb part?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There are no bombs. Let's make that very clear. We will not be sending you any violent items.
Where did the name Slow Fuse come from? It's quite not what would you say? It's kind of anticlimactic. So on my knuckles is tattooed Slow Burn. My great grandmother was born in 1900. She passed away in 2004, so she lived to be 104 years old. And she had a big part in raising me and teaching me a lot of my values and things like that. And so during one point in my life where I was living with her, I was dating and was, probably struggling with, making amends with a girlfriend or something like that. And at one point in time, she said, you can't let it get to you too much. You have to, follow your heart and all that stuff. And she says, make sure that you live your life the way you need to. But, burn bright, but burn slow. Was her motto, right? You want to make sure that you achieve greatness where you can, but don't strive for it to such an extent that you kill yourself along the way, right? That you burn yourself out along the way. And, do everything in measured amounts, I guess is the way to put that into real lingo. And it just stuck with me, right? And so Slow Burn being on my knuckles. And then the Slow Fuse came because I started playing League of Legends when it came out. And somebody already had the name Slow Burn on there because it's a thing that one of the characters, the guy that's always on fire.
Brand.
It's what Brand says. He goes, it's a slow burn. And so somebody had coined that name based on the Brand character. And so I couldn't have it not knowing that Brand even existed. And so I said Slow Fuse. It just was a thing. I don't know. It just came out. It probably came literally out of nowhere when I set my name up in League of Legends back in 2012 or 2011 or whatever. And Slow Fuse has just stuck ever since.
There you go. That's
so
the history.
Nothing too fancy, but kind of a cool story.
Anna says, just need bomb stickers to add to orders. There you go. That's a great idea.
Well, we have those.
Well, we have the bomb snail ones.
Believe it or not, we actually had the Slow Fuse Gaming bomb, and then we carried that on to Monument Hobbies. It was just a bomb because the bomb snail for Slow Fuse, my logo forever was a snail with a bomb as a shell.
Right there.
Right?
It is.
Yeah. So that's always been a thing. And then we had stickers of that, and we actually just had the bomb on its own with the Monument M in the middle of it. So we've already done that kind of fun stuff. But no, we're not going to mail you explosives. It's not going to happen, ATF, while you're listening.
Stan says, I don't think that's anticlimactic at all. I think it's really nice you can still have something to have of your grandma. I lost my granddad last month, and this is where my newborn Johnny got his name. That way that he will always live on. Nice.
Man, that's amazing.
That's cool.
That's amazing. We have one of our employees is taking his grandfather's last name because his grandfather only had daughters.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's happening, which I think is amazing. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and my great grandmother was the light of my life. My grandmother was the light of my mom. I always joke that I was raised by wolves, right? Because I was raised by women, and I had a stepdad who was great. So don't get me wrong there. But the women in my life were big guiding lights for me. They had very, very different experiences in life that I think was great. But to have a great grandmother, that lived to be 104 and born in 1900, the things my great grandmother saw are things that you and I will never even come close to experiencing in our lives. The kinds of changes that she saw going from 1900 to 2004. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking about a woman that never rode a bicycle, that she pedaled herself.
Yeah.
She never swam in a body of water.
Wow.
She never drove a car.
I remember you were saying that.
She didn't do any of these things that a lot of us took for granted because she lived in a time where that wouldn't have been an opportunity for her, number one. And then when she got married young, her husband, my great-grandfather, did all of that.
Did all the driving.
Right? My great-grandfather was an architect.
Yeah.
And they were able to travel and do things like that. They were never rich, but he did architecture for churches, and he did a lot of churches in Europe that he worked with, other firms, and a lot across the U.S. So they got to travel quite a bit. So, she got to fly and sail on a boat and go to countries that other people had never been to, but she never did some of the simplest things.
That's cool.
I always used to get a kick out of that as a kid. I was like, I called her Nini, right? Her name was Nini. I'm like, Nini, you never drove a car?
Wow.
That as a kid, that's just so foreign.
Yeah, it is
Right?
definitely different.
So yeah, but her life was totally different. Great Depression, 2 wars, where she was an adult for both of those wars. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
It's just insane. She was a flapper. She danced in a speakeasy. She taught people piano lessons to bring money in for her family when her father died.
Dang.
Her father
Lot of
died because of
history.
an argument with her mother, and he left the house, which was very uncommon, but he stormed out of the house and went and stayed at a motel. And he didn't know how to cook.
Oh, wow.
And so her mom, even though they were arguing, her mom made him some baked beans in a cast iron pot and took him to the motel so that he could have food, even though they were mad. And he ate those baked beans out of that cast iron pot for like a week and died.
Oh, because of the
lead poisoning or whatever it was from back then.
Wow.
Because the beans are acidic.
Wow.
And he got some botulism or something like that, and died.
That's rough.
Yeah, how horrible is that, right?
Wow.
But yeah, so she started teaching. She started teaching piano lessons to take care of the family when he was gone.
A lot of history. That's cool.
Neat stuff. Well, I say neat. That's not that that's neat, but
NKH. So, what about you, Chris? Why sushi? If you say my full name very fast, it's Christmas Sushi. My last name is Masucci, and I go by Chris or Christopher. Typically Christopher, but if you say Christmas and sushi really fast, it's my name. That's why.
he was born with it.
That's it.
Yeah, which is funny because my last name is Craze, and you would think that something in my moniker online would be Craze, but believe it or not, all of the things for my last name were already taken as well. Like if you Google Jason Craze, you get something about Friday the 13th, right? And the craze of Jason Voorhees, and it's all this stuff.
Stan, now that's anticlimactic. That's just what, if you say it real fast.
Yeah, you want it to be more, but it's like, oh, of course it's Christmas sushi. Christmas sushi.
Christmas sushi. There you go. What are you going to do?
He needs a better story, so we're going to get him a PR person.
Okay. I got many stories. Lots of stories. Too long for here.
So it was a night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring because they all had gas station sushi.
Gas station sushi, and they died the end.
And they died. The end. Christmas sushi. There you go.
M3 Stout, what's going on?
I love how you're like so macabre. And they died. The end.
And they died. We're done. Life sucks and then you die.
It should not.
Life sucks and then you die.
It doesn't, though.
Wad says, my name is Wad because I spelled my name wrong once. There you go. Perfect.
You spelled it wrong once, the time you were entering it into the internet? Is that it? In Yahoo or something?
Yes, Tiger Woods story, so he's some exciting. No, I don't have any of those.
I love the fact that back in the days of like
Woods.
AOL and Yahoo, is that people would like enter in their name incorrectly or whatever, and it wouldn't let you change it, so they just stuck with it. And it's like you meet people like, why are you called this? And it's like, well, I kind of messed up my name and my AOL address, and I'm like, or my Hotmail address, and I'm like, and you never changed it? And they're like, well, it's been like 20 years.
Oh,
so no.
Wad said I was in college making a nameplate for an art class. Ah, there you go. What are you gonna do? Wad tomato in. There it is.
Wad tomaton. Dun 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 dun. Automaton. Dun, 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 dun. Automaton. Dun,
3 Shades of Purple.
Dun,
Monument, you could use a PR story for eating bad sushi at the company Christmas party one year, and
whoa,
accidents happen. It's PR. Maybe I
whoa.
should stick with that one.
As long as
maybe
that company is the company he worked at before here, we only serve prime grade A
maybe I'll get
U.S.
a
sushi. There is no belly aching around Monument sushi. Only the best for our people.
Kenny says that guy would look so cool with a hot dog on the pauldron.
What is up with hot dogs?
We got to get you some hot dogs.
There's so much hot dog talk lately. Is this an innuendo?
I don't know.
You got hot dogs yesterday. We drove by a church today that said, free hot dogs.
What's going on with the glizzy invasion?
What? Yeah, you stop.
You don't like it when I say that, do you?
No.
Neither
it's
do
right
I.
up there with the living spaces thing, and if you sing it, I kill you. I swear
I
to
would
God,
never
Christopher,
sing
you
that.
do that all the time.
Hey, man, no free pub, but maybe we could get sponsored by Living Spaces.
That might work. I would never allow that.
I just want to start reading ads on this stream. That's it. And today's sponsor is Depends. Are you regular? Do you have a discrepancy pad that is filled? Well, put on some Depends.
A discrepancy? What?
A discrepancy pad? You know, like a pad you sit on like on a chair when someone can't hold it.
Is that a thing?
I believe so.
Oh, it's not a term I've ever heard.
I don't know if it's called that.
Oh,
it's
I call just it not that. A term I've ever heard.
I call it that, a discrepancy pad.
There's a slight discrepancy.
It's a little bit better than saying a crap mat.
A crap mat.
Oh man. Speaking of crap mats,
welcome everybody.
We're painting up some Blood Angels. It is 2:31 p.m. Monument Standard Time.
I don't know how this happens to me.
And yeah, we are. No, it's an incontinence pad. Yes,
yeah, incontinence.
I know, but I call it a discrepancy pad because that's hilarious. Discrepancy pad. Oh man.
To anyone in chat that has discrepancies, please take this with the most friendly jest ever.
It's an incontinence pad. No. It's a discrepancy. Wow. Yes, Vipus, unfortunately I do. Crack myself up. You gotta live long and prosper and laugh, or whatever the heck that guy says.
That guy, Spock?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Live long, laugh long, something like that?
No, that's...
What up, Ryan?
Oh, my God. How did we get here? Need to turn Chris's mic off here in a minute.
Depends. Allows you to last the whole con day, no matter what kind of spills you have. Oh, there's some good ad copy. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. Just start giving me ad reads, you guys. Come on, let's go.
Don't.
Let's get this real. Any glizzies being gobbled today? False. No. Won't do it. Off the rails. Nah, this stream is no. Hey, this is a serious business painting stream. You're right. I have failed to give you good content.
I have a dream.
Okay.
Where one day all the people will unite in a serious painting stream.
I think we could turn that bus around right now, just in general. Like, we can turn that boat, that train, that bus, that car, whatever you're in. Let's turn it around. Jason?
Yes, sir.
So you started with yellow-green for this steel workup?
No, sir. I started with Payne's Gray.
Well, technically...
I started with Payne's Gray.
Technically, yeah. I guess we could call it that. So where are you going from here?
Payne's Gray and white blue.
And you just kind of work it up as you go?
Yeah, right now I'm just doing the first base layer, which is kind of 75% Payne's Gray, 25% white blue, to give me that first step of brightness, right? You can take two colors and get a lot more out of them if you blend them in various stages together, as we should all know by now. And white blue Payne's Gray, pale yellow Payne's Gray, black blue, white blue, all of those things or blue black, all of these can make for really great non-metallic steel. And you don't have to have a million colors, right? I can just kind of mix these two together in ever increasing brightness by adding a little more white blue for each layer, until I go to pure white blue for the last shock of shine that goes on. And I'll typically do two initial layers, right? One that is 75% Payne's Gray, 25% white blue. That's the one we're doing now. And then another one that is 50-50. And then I'll jump straight out of the 50-50 to pure white blue is the way that will go, right? And what it looks like is this when you're done, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Right, so it gives a really nice contrast to the red. I really, really like that. The rest of the army is gold. So if you have not seen the progression here, we're doing gold on all the veterans, which this army is mostly veteran assault troopers. and like they're Praetorian Guard and all sorts of other veteran units. But the ones that are not veterans, like the standard assault troopers, I have 2 units of these guys, and I thought it would be cool to just have them have the silver trim rather than the gold, or the steel rather than gold, so that you could tell them apart on the field real quick. I love your little
I like that.
That's when he's not paying attention.
No,
Chad.
I'm
That's how you know
paying
Chris
attention.
isn't paying attention, is when you get done talking, when he hears silence and he goes,
Now a word from our sponsors, Hobby Huggers, because true hobby nerds never leave the table, not even for the bathroom.
dude,
That
this could
was
be a thing.
That came from Gabe.
This could be a thing,
Good.
Gabe. This is where we do need to call Depends. Hey, we've got an idea.
Panic Bomb.
I think you're marketing to the wrong people.
What do I think of this workup? I think it's pretty nice. I know I say that. I went back and watched some streams and realized I do say I like this workup a lot. And I guess I just have to come up with a different way to complement workups. This is an excellent and exceptional workup.
Why, thank you, Christopher.
This makes me want to try non-metallic steel.
It's really easy.
It is.
The thing with this, what we lovingly call Wish.com non-metallic metal, is that you don't have to worry about too much. You're really just trying to get brightness where the brightness would go, which would be kind of close to the top of all of these things, since we're just highlighting these as if they were outdoors in the sun. So you don't have to spend a lot of time worried about, reflection on shapes. It's just highlight normal, and just make sure you take the jump of brightness to that bright color at the right point, and you'll get everything you need.
Tyler, he's actually using a dry glass palette. You can get them on Amazon, but any piece of ceramic glossy tile or just a piece of glass would work. But that's what Jason
uses. It's just a laminated piece of glass that is painted gray or grayed out somehow on the back to make sure that it has a very neutral surface color, which I love. It makes your colors appear way more like they are out of the bottle. I typically don't recommend using white palette paper, just because it will make your colors look darker than they really are. And then when you put them on the model, you may not get the same color as it looks on the palette.
Gabe says, if I can poop my pants safely whilst not pausing my hobby time, I'll take 100.
Telling ya.
I guess I would.
Probably breeds bad habits.
I'd volunteer to show the example live.
It probably breeds bad habits, but I could see this being good at con. These are called like con shorts.
Hobby Huggers.
Condorwear.
Hobby Huggers, I like that.
Yeah, Hobby Huggers.
Hobby Huggers, Conwear. That's funny, Sam. I designed my mom's 50th birth cake as a Depends box. They had candy, pills. That's hilarious.
That's actually really cool.
Oh, correction. I said poop my paints, not pants. Or is it pants, not paints? Oh, I see what you did there, Gabe. Paints, pants. I pooped my pants. Wow, that's it. That was my last pee-poo poo-poo joke.
I have no idea what's going on,
Nope.
Chad.
I canceled everything.
I apologize. Paid professionals. Blah,
You're right.
Blah, blah.
I
it's
redact
hard,
my pay.
Christopher, do you know how hard it is to convince people that we are the company they should put their faith in?
I don't.
When they come in here every day.
I am extremely
and you're talking
confident.
about Depends?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
No. I see what you did there.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
You ever listen to Click and Clack, the car guys?
What did you just call me?
Exactly.
No. I didn't.
That's a lot of what we have going on here, unknowingly.
Monument
unknowingly.
Hobbies, we depend on you all. Hey, M3 Stout, we depend on you guys. You beautiful men and women of the hobby. Thank you. Wad, that's kind of gross. But hey, you were a baby, so there you go. That was your excuse.
Babies are kind of gross. I think the best description was that they're like little drunken old men.
Just joined and might have to go buy more paint after catching the end. Hey, the Moon Man. Sounds like a hobby night coming up.
Nice.
Get ready.
I like it. Moon Man. I want to hope he's called Moon Man from the Rick and Morty.
Oh, or Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, did Wallace and Gromit have a Moon Man?
Well, no, maybe it's not Moon Man. What was it? No, not Wallace and Gromit. I think you're right. I think it is just Rick and Morty. I didn't watch a lot of Rick and Morty.
Jen and I would binge it.
I tried.
And then stop.
Yeah.
And then we'd be like, oh, we haven't watched that in a long time. We binge it for a little bit, like a season or two, and then stop.
Yeah.
It's actually fairly funny. It's so irreverent. It's right up my alley for if I'm going to watch something humorous. I'm like, yeah, that tickles the nerve.
Stan says, will you be making more basing stuff like crackle effects and things like that? I know there's other brands, but when a favorite brand you would choose if there was any available?
We're always looking at them. We had looked at crackle paint a long time ago. I have a sample around here someplace. Whether it's still good or not, I have no idea. What I was having a problem was I wanted to be able to guarantee that it was a very fine crackle so that you could use it as, like, think of cracking paint on a tank surface as well as stuff for, like, basing material.
So more fine cracks.
Fine, but controllable is the hard part, right?
Cool.
Because the more you apply, the heavier the cracking. And so it's a very inconsistent material no matter what you do. And so we kind of backed away from it because I couldn't use it as an effect paint as well as a basing paint. So we might come out with like two, one that I know will just always be fine and one that can do larger cracks for basing.
That would be cool.
I haven't ever really circled back around to it. We've had other pressing things, but yeah, I can see doing some.
I think that's why he does that, Moon Man.
Moon Man, that's the third time that you've heard me go, Moon Man. You'll find that I'll be deep in painting, and I'm just hearing Chris, and Chris will say something that triggers one of those things in me, and yes, I don't know, it's my tism. I don't know, something happens, and that's my quirk. That's my tick. That's what you get.
Hey.
I go back and I watch some of the streams, and I will be listening, and I will absolutely laugh myself nearly to peeing in the pants point for some of the things that happen on this stream, where Christopher or I just, some word triggers one of us to just do something completely silly. And at the time, it seems natural, but when I go to watch it back, I can't remember why. It was funny.
John, what is this clip? Chris admits it. I don't know. I'm not going to click it. I don't click our own links for our clips.
Why does it say Frail Open Mosquito Chef Frank? Is that just their random naming of clips? They put words there? Frail Open Mosquito Chef Frank.
No idea.
Dude, we need to remember that because I need to make a model of Frail Open Mosquito Chef Frank.
But it says Chris admits it. I'm not going to click this. I'm not going to click this link.
He's not brave enough, chat.
Because chat, here's the problem with what you got to get better at your pitches, because when it says like Chris being silly as the title, I'm not going to appease you. And when it says Chris admits it, I'm not going to click that because I didn't admit it. Whatever you did here, I didn't do it.
Well, and let me help you out here, chat.
Like,
Chris is always silly.
Me, no. I am 50% serious business, and 50%
insane.
I wouldn't say insane. Just on the cusp.
Okay. You ride the fine line of sanity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
I feel like he's one news report shy of a serial killer sometimes.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take that comment.
Well,
I'm not a serial killer.
That's exactly what serial killers would say. I've watched Dexter.
I'm not a serial killer. I kill openly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've decided. We're talking about bombs. We're talking about gunfire. This is not a stream that's going to be public after this. I'm going to have to go back and edit these clips. It's like, suggestion of violence? No. Silly. Oh, you mentioned letter bomb 5 times in this stream. Should we red flag this account? Question mark? No. It's called comedy.
Monument Hobbies has been reported.
No. Aaron B.
That was a big sigh, Chris.
Jason, what do you think of the style where people underpainting like bright red? Let me actually bring this back up. Jason, what do you think of the style where people underpainting like a bright red and then painting over it, letting the colors, the colorful shadows show? They don't always make sense, but look good too.
Heck yeah, I do it quite often. Well, we use like, you know, purples and things like that for underpinning on basically every model.
Yeah.
Doing brighter colors can be really, really cool if you're going for a particular effect on you know, models, whether it's skin or whatever. You've seen me use royal purple. We've done reds in the past. I love it. It is something that, you know, you kind of roll the dice on your first couple of tries doing it to find out what you like. And then it becomes fairly repeatable. I love jade as an underpinning color. I think starting a model from something like jade or turquoise even can be really, really bitchin'. It can give you some really cool, you know, undertones. And if all you do is use it as a base to where when you glaze your top colors over it, they just inherit a little bit of it, it can be really neat. It gives you the feeling of like, well, we were talking about it yesterday with like Frank Frazetta, right? Boris Vallejo, some of the older fantasy artists and things like that. You get some really, really cool colorings going on that wouldn't normally be things you'd think of, like greens in the skin that aren't normal, like the jades and stuff, purples, lots of yellows, oranges, reds, that can work out really well. There's no real rhyme or reason to it necessarily until you get a feel for it and find what works for you. So a lot of people, like yesterday, the question was, how would you go about doing that the first time? And I told people, or maybe it was the day before, and I was like, one of the best ways to do that is to basically copy one you like and be looking at like, where are the colors in it? You know, if they're under the chin and in the shadows, then just take a model you like and paint the shadows with that heavy undertone of color, so you can get a feel for what it looks like at the end.
Ryan says, I have a painting question not related to violence or bombs, if that's okay.
Nope.
Yep. Thank you. I was rewatching the layering video, and do you do that level of layering on regular Marines? Do you just paint upside down for most of the model to get your brush moving from shadow to highlight?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my brush moves from shadow to highlight, or my brush moves from where I don't want the paint to where I do want the paint. I don't want you to get stuck in shadow to highlight all the time, because it depends. If I'm painting a dark color, it goes from highlight to shadow, right? Because it's where you don't want the paint to where you do want the paint. It's just that 90% of the time I'm painting from dark to light, so it will seem like my brush strokes go from shadow to highlight. But remember that if you're painting the other way, like if you want to glaze a shadow in or darken something up, you need to go from highlight the opposite direction, right? You want to stop your brush where the largest amount of the color you're painting would want to be.
Yeah.
That's the thing to remember.
Kevin, do you have any in-depth videos of using your basing materials? I'm not seeing one. You know, not our basing materials, but now that you say that...
What's your question regarding them?
It's
probably easier for me to just answer if you have something that you'd like to know on how to better use them, put them to use.
We can always answer your questions. We don't have specific videos to everything, but we definitely can show you stuff.
For the most part, the basic materials are just a paint with physical texture in them. So you just brush them on. You can thin them with water. Understand that as you thin them, the physical particles spread further apart, so you won't get as much texture in any one area as you do that. But yeah, you can thin them out, mix them together, layer them. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff with them. So
just Kevin says, just like to look and learn inspiration.
Oh, yeah. We, well, I was going to say on this army, we're just using resin bases, so we're not going to get a lot of functional.
Jason does you kind of like do your workup in layers, don't you? With your texture?
Yeah.
You go from like ultra fine to then maybe some fine.
Typically, yes. I will go from like a fine or ultra fine to fine, and then use the coarse as a kind of a spot placement of rock or heavier groundwork so that I get that inconsistent texture that real earth would have. It wouldn't all just be, one grit, so to speak. So yeah, I'll work multiple textures together on a base, especially larger ones. On something like Space Marines where you don't need a lot, it really just comes down to what visual you're going for.
I use our basing texture, the ultra fine, as well for for most of the base of my base, if that makes sense. And then I build up from there, adding like little aquarium rocks or extra sprue, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like a nice adhesive almost. Aaron says, would you ever underpaint complementary colors that are saturated?
Give me an example of something you're thinking of.
Yeah,
we're talking about like.
It's an interesting question. Yes, you are able to pick up TCG Player. You're able to pick up paints from our store here. It's just a little storefront, but yeah, if you come and visit, we've got it.
Yep, everything we have in stock right here at HQ. HQ is about to change locations for pickup orders, that is, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Oh, for pickup orders.
Yeah, because you'll have to go over
Right.
to Clarendon to pick up orders now.
Right.
Right. You won't be able to pick up orders at HQ because fulfillment's moving.
Right.
We're moving our fulfillment and production teams back into a unified building. Right now, production has been outside of HQ for a while, and we're going to put production and fulfillment together, but in a separate building from where Chris and I are located right now. This building will remain HQ. We're going to hopefully be building an experience center here. We're going to have a full training area, classrooms, things like that, where you'll be able to travel into town and get classes from us. Do some really fun stuff with that. I'm really looking forward to that in the new year. It's so funny to say in the new year. Like, are you kidding me? It's already getting close to having to think about 2026. How silly is that, Chris?
I don't know. This year's been long.
You think so?
100%.
Wow, I think it's flown by. That's crazy.
It's for me, I don't know. Aaron says, like a saturated blue under painted base, then a bright orange as the skin tone.
Yeah, you can get away with it.
Oh, like for skinks or chameleons or something. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of vibrancy. So, I tend to think that as long as you're doing something alien, like you said, skinks, lizardmen, you could get away with a really vibrant color scheme like that, then yeah. The old forest goblins.
TCG players, that's cool. Yeah, come on in. We've got stuff. John says, I think 2025 can mostly get in the bin.
Yeah. I always try to keep a very positive attitude, and I haven't, this year has had some really sucky things, not going to lie. But we still persevere. It's still, a year that I'm thankful to be above ground.
Yep. That's true.
And we've had some great stuff happen. We've had some new hires that are fantastic around here. It's funny because my whole life is pretty much the business. I hate to say that, but it's really what it is. I live, breathe, sleep, eat Monument Hobbies. And so for me...
He doesn't eat Monument Hobbies, let's be clear. He does not do that.
The paints are delicious.
Whoa!
I'm very sad that nobody asks me what my favorite flavor paint is anymore. The bleh one is my favorite. It just kind of rockets out of nowhere.
Whoa. Ryan says, have you ever considered having a Monument Hobbies painting competition?
Yes. Actually. Yes. You didn't hear it here, But at next year's Adepticon, our plan is to have a Monument Hobbies painting competition.
Oh.
Our plan is to have information for you in fourth quarter this year so you have enough time to prep for it, but that is our plan. That plan may change because we don't have all the logistics worked out, but Adepticon has given us the go-ahead, and we have got the booth size to increase our booth dramatically. So, yeah. So there you go.
What would that look like?
It would be an open competition, as we're thinking about it right now, meaning that any models, any paints, it's just a painting competition, not monument specific. It's just something we want to do to applaud the people out there like you guys and gals that paint models to a high level. And we would have categories. We don't know all of that. We don't have all that set in stone yet. We need to figure out the amount of cases and like physical logistics we can work out for the space, how it would sit in the space. But we have a very large space for Adepticon, and one of our plans is to have a larger experience area, and part of that would be the painting competition. So, yes. So there you go. Phil, no, you cannot. I mean, we could have a monument employee showcase. I think that would be fun.
That could be cool.
But Phil, you can't compete and get prizes. You work here.
Most importantly, can I win? Phil, you're banned.
Phil, you already win on a daily basis having your office so close to mine.
And by office, he means the desk.
The desk. Yeah.
That would be cool, Jason. That's big news.
Living is hard, but dying would be a pity. Yes, because there's so much opportunity to do so much more.
Great news from Jason today. We're so happy for Jason.
Yeah, right? Yeah, so we're excited to be able to do that. Like I said, do not hold us to task on that. There's a lot of things that could go awry between now and then, but I have it, and Gabe have it, and the team, we have it in our mind that that's our goal. So we will try our hardest to make it come true. It's the first time we've ever done it, so I don't guarantee it'll be great, but we will sure pour our love into it.
Yep. One Eye says, will you do Best Texture Trainer at Nova again? Was considering making that my first contest entry.
Yep. Yeah, it is an annual thing. We do the texture trainer with him on an annual basis as of now. So we just did the Kieran released at this one. Yep. So there will be a new texture trainer each year, and the previous texture trainer will only sell for somewhere around 15 months. We'll have them overlap a little, which is what we're doing with the Salamander right now. You're still able to buy the Salamander, which was 2024's.
And that's going away, correct?
But it will be going away. So yes, and that's not a FOMO thing. That's just we want to keep them on an annual basis so that you can get them. And we might bring them back from time to time. We might have it to where, 3 months before each Nova, we do a couple of weeks of sale of all of the texture trainers as we build them up, for the Nova ones, so that you can buy all the past ones as Nova approaches. So if you missed out, didn't get into the hobby, I hate the idea that, because I wasn't in the hobby 2 years ago, I didn't get the cool thing, So yeah, we'll play around with stuff like that.
M3 Stout says, screw the demon sword, I want the small bomb trophy.
Yeah. Speaking of bombs.
If you win, you got to decode this bomb.
Turns out.
Oh boy. A lot of bomb talk.
Twitch has got bigger fish to fry. They got some idiots on Twitch right now.
Yeah, that's true. And he's not talking about me, chat.
And you wonder why yesterday I made that my Chris voice, because that was it, almost. It was a little bit of a Homestar Runner.
No, yeah. Yours was a little bit more insulting.
Hey, Morse Ben.
Demeaning.
I really like my models to be larger.
Great. I don't know what else to say. Horrible. I'm not a fan.
Got to feed it back to him, chat. Got to keep him honest. He says you got to keep me honest, chat. And
That's
then
true.
when we keep him honest, he balks. He balks.
Here's what I'll say. Keep me honest. Keep me honest.
But give me a better voice.
There are 3 things that I hate. 3 things.
People walking up behind him when he's in a chair with a back.
No. There's a difference. There's 3 things that I hate.
Oh.
And I don't know what they are.
And you don't know what they are. I remember this one too.
Now I have pet peeves. Pet peeves are different.
Are they?
Than actual hate.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like it when people mess with me in my swivel chair. That's why I don't like sitting in swivel chairs. I don't know what that is. Don't mess with me.
I need to go to therapy with you so I can figure out what did that to you.
No. It's gonna be just bury it deep.
Just bury it deep.
Not worth the money for the session. Chris Phillips says Christopher's models are an appropriate size because they fit on their proper sized bases and have a wonderful theme. Oh, thanks, Phil.
Phil needs something.
I don't know, Phil. I got nothing for you.
I feel like Phil's looking for something
Stan
from
says,
Chris.
not as insulting as your British accent, Chris. However, I could request you read all my questions now in a British accent. Not as insulting as your British accent there, love. However, I could request you read all my questions from now on in a British accent.
It's the Ringo one that gets me.
A British accent. However, I could request you read all my questions.
That's the one I love the
in
most.
A British accent. I won't do it.
You just did it.
I don't hate pink plaid, you guys. I just won't do it. I lied to you. Get over it. Whoa.
Paid professional chat. This is how you get
wild,
treated at
dude.
Monument Hobbies. I just want to let the new folks here know that before you invest a lot of your time in Monument Hobbies, you might want to take a deep look at whether or not Chris is your man.
I'm sorry, chat. I did lie to you. Flapjack says, I hate pink plaid. I'll say it. A community member said they hated pink plaid.
My hero.
Oh, no.
My hero is that community member's name.
Wad, false. I'm not a politician. I'm just running for mayor. I'm going to run for mayor, chat.
I think you should.
I'm going to do it. First thing I'm doing in Carefree, cleaning up that well water.
I thought it was give post boxes.
Oh. No, I like that rule, actually. It's dumb, but I like it.
You like the no post boxes?
It's kind of nice, just so that no one knows where I live.
You're the mayor.
Not yet.
I don't think anonymity comes along with being the mayor of a township.
Whoa! Artistic Outlaw, that Ringo makes me want to burn all my pro curl on social media. Whoa! Artistic, no. 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 No.
We
Jason,
love Chris's Yellow Submarine fantasies.
Stan, Jason, are you saying us in chat have a say on Chris's annual performance review?
I might do that.
Yeah,
actually.
I'll give you here, and how you access that performance review is a survey.
I love this idea that each of Chris's annual reviews, we take him out to lunch, by the way. And so we take him out to lunch, and he gets to pick the place. And then at partway through his interview, we open up the folder with all of chat's thoughts.
Sure. As long as I can record it and publicly shame all of you.
How great would that be?
You're not safe, chat. I'm just going to say it.
How great would that be, chat? Okay, so from Wadtomaton, Chris.
Wad will be nice to me.
Woo! Wad, are you hearing this?
I know.
Chris
Wad's
has
on my
faith.
side. I would say there's 50% of these people in here enjoy me and 50% could do without me. And that's fair. Harsh, but fair. Which is fine. 50% are here for Jason. Well, no.
Whoa. I was all right with where this thing was going until you decided that it was me versus you. Are you saying that people come here to watch you?
I don't know, man. Maybe.
I don't want to know this. I don't want this to go up for vote. This might wreck my ego.
No, it's about 95% Jason, 2%.
It's like I need this in my
chat,
life. I need to know that these people are mine.
And then the 1.5% Chris, and then the extra 0.5%. I don't know why. I've only got a sliver. No, that's what the survey said. I'll have to do that in the next survey. Speaking of surveys, the next survey will be coming out very soon.
Oh, no.
For all of you who took my first survey, thank you.
Who authorized this?
I have decided that I will put surveys into martial law when it comes to Monument. So you will have to sign up for that survey. And if you all hadn't taken the first survey, shame on you. You should take it.
Is it still up?
Yeah, sure. Why not? It's always up.
Are you still looking for answers on it? Like, do you go and look at it?
I have read every single one, and sometimes they trickle in. Hey, you know what? Sure. Here you go, chat. Oh, I know. I know what's up. Loop. There, chat. What I'm gonna. Why don't you just give me 1 second here?
I don't know what's going on, chat. I would be very scared.
Copy responder link. That's the link I need. Here you go, chat. Fly.
Be very afraid, chat.
If you haven't taken my survey, take that one. That's the survey.
I would not click a link that Chris puts up until the end of stream.
Come on. Come on. Click it. Come on.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? But if you are going to take that survey, I do actually take these extremely seriously. So you, please, I ask for your honest answers. And there's a disclaimer in that one. So just be aware that your survey may or may not be read out loud. Now, what I realized is that Google Forms gives you a beautiful little pie chart of all the answers when they come in.
Yes.
That excited me. Tyler says, I have all my Plague Marines built and primed in Imperial Purple. Do you think bright yellow green would look like would be a good Zenithal highlight? Ooh.
Imperial Purple and bright yellow green. What then are you going to do with the coloring?
Yeah.
Like, what are you putting over the top of that when you say Zenithal? Because that could be really bitchin'. What colors do you plan to go over the top of it with? Would be my question. With colors like that, you just need to be careful because that bright yellow green will add a lot of yellow to whatever you put over it. If you wanted to do something that, took them into the dirty white or camo green, then that yellow could really help.
Colossal, you guys are getting surveys, not just surveys. That's one survey to rule them all.
It just comes in a lot of different parts.
There's chapters to my saga, but that's the first one. Rock says, any plans for other airbrush primer colors? I would love a burnt sienna and an ivory primer for an airbrush.
Guess what? You're about to love me. You know how much you're going to love me in the count of 3, 2, 1. Next week, we are hoping to have dark purple, red oxide, and taupe.
Yep.
And they look like these. So, dark purple. Right?
Yep.
Dark purple. Red oxide. And taupe, which is, ta-da! Like a little bit more of a yellowy dark ivory. Taupe is a great underpinning for bone, right? But it is not the same as our bone color. So, did I just read your mind? Did you just have one of the greatest days ever? I feel like you did.
Wow. So, you'll also be getting announcements via socials, the emails, and Discord. So keep an eye out for when that goes live. And we will be announcing that.
Yeah, we're ready with them. We just have to wait on the labels right now. The labels haven't gotten here yet so that we can complete the bottling. We don't make the labels in-house. They come from states away.
Brandon Dollar says, any tips for photographing tiny miniatures? I would say the best one is to not get too shadowy with your lighting.
Yep.
So don't go too directly above it. You got to have a good amount of the light from a 3-point light system in front, and then always having a highlight in the back to show more depth on your model is great. There's a gentleman out there named Ready Set Magenta that has a wonderful guide on doing that. You can check him out on Instagram. But there's a lot of artists out there that do that, but it's very similar technique. A lot of good frontal light because then you can actually see the shadows that you painted. You don't want the light to cast those wacky shadows because then it gets rid of all that time you spent on the shadows.
Yes.
And also a higher aperture on your camera if you are if you're using like a DSLR or mirrorless or something.
You can get apps for your phones that open up an
simulate
aperture,
it.
a fake aperture setting that will allow you to kind of fake that too if you're used to DSLR. I think iPhone even exposes it now normally.
They do.
Don't they?
Yeah. You can get a bunch of different apps that do that, but yeah, it's pretty easy now.
I think it's native
just
now.
just good front lighting. Rock says, "Do you think red oxide will be a good undercoat for gold? I know your tutorials like using burnt sienna under gold layers."
Yep, definitely can. I think anything in that warm... I like... what I would do, to be honest with you, is I would start, if you're going to do non-metallic gold or metallic gold, I would start with our black-brown primer, and then off of the black-brown primer, do a zenithal of the red oxide, right? And then paint either your metallic or your non-metallic off of that. Because the black-brown will give you those really deep shadows. The red oxide will give it a really good warmth. So I think that there's a lot of combos that come from these new colors. The dark purple, the taupe, and the red oxide. Because you can imagine doing the black-brown primer that we already have and then doing the taupe over the top of that. And your skeletons are basically done in one. You just put a wash on them and call it a day. The dark purple, you can do the red oxide over the dark purple and get a really good basis for any flesh tone underpainting you want to do. I think that's going to be great. So lots and lots of combos that I think will work wonderfully with these new primers. Not least of which, of course, is just that you have dark purple now. That you can just dark purple everything to your
That's
content.
right. That's right.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said, Chris. That's what I said.
Going back to Tyler's comment, I'm not sure, but I'm really leaning towards dark turquoise for the Plague Marines.
Oh, okay.
Because you have them based as imperial purple right now, and you were thinking about a dark yellow or bright yellow green zenithal, yeah.
And then doing the turquoise over the top could be really bitchin'. Yeah. It's going to give it kind of a jaundiced look to that blue-green or green-blue of the turquoise. So, you know, be aware of that because you're going to get that yellow intruding in there from the yellow-green. So, but I love the idea. I think it would look really well. Give you a really cool foundation for some cool Plague Marine look. Do it!
Stan, part 2. That's all I'm going to say. Stan says, doing the survey now whilst watching along, Chris, you need to make an addition to what business venture should Monument take on next. There's no option for Slick Willies. Well, that's why it's a part 1.
Slick Willie's fettuccine. It was some sort of sushi.
For what?
For the new thing. It was Slick Willie's fettuccine.
Breakfast sushi.
Breakfast sushi, that's what it was. It was Slick Willie's fettuccine and breakfast sushi. That's what it was.
Which is just kimbap, essentially.
I don't know. These are words you're making up and don't make sense to me, but breakfast sushi makes sense to me, and that's what we're going to do.
There you go.
Slick Willie's fettuccine, cheesesteak cake.
There it is.
And breakfast sushi. We're going to take over the world. I don't know
I hope
what it is that the people can't seem to see in this whole idea.
Yeah, Tyler, definitely throw that in Discord. Show us your work in progress. We'd love to see it. I'm so happy that a lot of you took that survey.
He really was ecstatic about it. So thank you, everybody.
You guys gave Jason, are you saying thank you? Like I'm a toddler? Thank you guys for taking it. Thank you. He really appreciates it.
No, Chris.
Wow.
I would never say that like
man.
that to appease
just-
you by making sure that chat made it seem like that was a very important thing. No, what I meant was completely the opposite of what you just said.
Wow. I don't like it.
You do this to yourself, you know?
I don't do anything to myself.
You do this to yourself.
Paint and play miniature art. Do you mind showing your color recipe for that non-metallic you're doing right now?
It's literally Payne's gray and white blue. It is. That's all this is. 2 colors: Payne's gray, white blue. You can pop in close.
Yeah.
It's Payne's gray, white blue. And all I'm doing is going through very messily, as you can see, right? I'm not looking for smooth blends, but I do the Payne's gray, then I do a mix of 75% Payne's gray, 25% white blue, and then now I'm doing 50-50, and then I go white blue over the top of that, and it turns out looking like the one on the left. So the next step will be the white blue over what you see on the right.
Yeah.
So the next step will make it come alive. This is just a very fast way to work up non-metallic steel, 2 colors. You've seen me do it on this guy, on like the jump packs for the Dreadnought. This was all blue, black, and pale yellow with then a final highlight of white blue, but same concept. So I change up the dark color that I use from Payne's gray to blue, black most of the time. I've done it also with dark blue if I want something to feel a little bit more chrome. You know, something that's a little bit more blue steel, then dark blue works really well. But find a deep, blue black, Payne's gray, dark blue, something like that. And then either take, I typically choose pale yellow or white blue, and that's it. Like, you can use bright pale yellow, but I choose pale yellow because you don't want to take it to the highlight being yellow most of the time. I use the pale yellow as the mixer for all the steps in between, and then when I'm ready to drop the real bright highlight, I go to white blue. That's what I've done here. But it makes the gunmetal kind of look a lot dirtier when you use the yellow working up to it than the clean, bright feel of the shoulder pads here without the yellow. See, it just looks a little bit more crisp and clean on these guys, but the mid-tones will be a little bit dirtier with the yellow as the mixer than just pure white blue. But either way, just very easy. I call it wish.com non-metallic metal. It's something that's easy and fun to do. You can get used to just those 2 colors and mixing them along the way. And realize when I say 75, 25, 50, 50, none of that is mathematical. That's all just mix the paint until you get a brighter version of it. You know, and stage your layers the way you like.
Steven says, hey, it's been a minute since I caught a stream live. Do you think you could do a tutorial sometime on how to do frost, like frost on weapons and armor? I have no idea. I have an idea for a unit, but no idea how. Frost.
Yeah, so frost is tough, but you can do it. It's more of an effect, so you just paint the world. But yeah, we could take a look at doing something like that. If you remind Chris, he can write it down, and we'll see if we don't have some sort of model that we can make that happen with.
Basing, frost. A lot of good ideas for me. And by me, I mean Jason. And by Jason, I mean Chris hitting the record button. And by recording, I mean with our cameras.
Because we all know Chris will say he'll do it. That
I will do it.
He might even go so far as to say he has all the tools and he already knows exactly what he'll do. And then, unfortunately, he'll lie and back out. I'm not saying that's ever happened before.
There's going to be some time where Jason's absent next week, and I will be reigning supreme while he's gone. And
don't you already reign supreme?
No.
I mean, I defer
just
to you
in the background.
All things supreme.
I will not be doing pink plaid. Or maybe I will. Who knows? I gotta think about it. Jason will be gone next week, but you will have me.
I'll be here Monday.
I don't know about that.
Wow. The I don't know if I'll let you stream, Jason.
No. Chris is going to be painting Thunder Warriors. I could show you my non-metallic rusty workup. I was going to show you guys that. That could be fun. A lot of people have asked for that. A lot of people have asked for basing. I love basing, so maybe we do some basing workups. show you guys how the basing textures come out of the tube and how to use them.
That'd be cool.
That's what I love basing, so I could do some over the weekend and then show you some results on how they dry or stuff like that.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. My little tips and tricks for basing. One Eye Rick says the survey was interesting.
With you on that one.
Jose Return says, Jason, how do you loose yourself while mixing while you're a beginner? I find it pretty difficult matching tones and taking myself away from mixing with paint drops. How do you, I don't know, you might have misspelled that there. How do you loose yourself while mixing while you're a beginner?
The biggest key with mixing colors is to not be too beholden to the fact that the color has to be exactly the same.
Jose's talking about thick acrylics, the expert acrylics.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
How do you...
Loosen. Oh, okay, yeah, loosen. How do you loosen yourself while mixing while you're a beginner? I find it pretty difficult matching tones and taking myself away from mixing.
I guess I'd have to understand what you mean by loosen. Are you talking about consistency of the paint, or how to get in the right mind state to feel free to go and do the blends and the mixing, right? Because when I mix, the biggest thing for me is just making sure that I can have the freedom to know that I don't have to make the colors match exactly. At the scales we paint at, the color being a little bit different doesn't matter at all, right? So, I just get close, and I'm typically, how I get close is I'm judging the color not for its hue, but for its value, how bright it is versus the last mix of it that I did. So I just go back to the droplets and remix them all the time. And that gives me the freedom to be able to do it very quickly. I'm not scared to have it be a little bit different because it doesn't matter. When you look at things in real life, they have variations of coloring across. You look at a car, the blue on a car will be 18 different shades of blue as you look across it based on where the reflection is and color of the environment. So I'm never worried about the mixes being exactly like the hue of the previous mix. I'm just not. If I'm using two colors, it's easy. If you can pop in on my palette.
Yeah.
So you'll see I'm mixing Payne's Gray and White Blue here, and I'm doing it all in this area. And if you can see, there's this halo of darker color here. That was where I did my first mix. That was 75% Payne's Gray and 25% White Blue, and it gave me this area here. Then I add a little bit more White Blue to get us to 50-50 here, and I'm using those terms loosely. That's what this feels like, is 75-25, and this feels like 50-50. But this will be the little area that I mix in, and when I want to mix again, like it's dried out, then I'll grab a little bit of White Blue, pull it over here into my Payne's Gray, and I just mix it smaller area until it matches the color of the previous mix, and now I know I'm right. So I'm constantly remixing over the top of the current color, but not covering it entirely so that I can see a little bit of the previous color and the one that I'm mixing, and I know they're close, and I'm good to go. It's really that easy. It can be a little bit different, it doesn't matter. So long as the brightness is pretty much the same, that's the key.
Beef Daddy says, struggling to get a nice aged/worn brass true metallic recipe. Any ideas on simple layer recipe? Worn brass with true metallics.
I mean, our rich gold with a little bit of yellow transparent works great for that because it's already a very warm gold anyway. And it's going to be more orangey than you want for brass. So the yellow transparent mixed in with it will help that. Or any yellow paint then down and mixed in with it works really well. That's probably the easiest way to do that.
He says, I think it's more of a on mindset. I consider myself a squared person. I'm always seem controlling on everything.
And that's something that with painting, you have to loosen up. and now the term loosen makes sense, is you have to be able to open your mind up to the fact that mathematically, if you think like I do, you will not care about the color being the same when you mix. You're going to get close, and that's the best you can hope for and all you need. And it's not a mediocrity thing. It's not settling for mediocre mixing. It's that's the truth. The colors will read the same on the model because it's scale. Your eyes can't tell the difference past a point, right? And so just getting used to, when you look at it, say, okay, yeah, this mix is very close, and running with it. Put it on the model. If for some reason you mess up and it doesn't look right, then add a little bit more of the color in and go over it again. Because I'm basically mixing multiple times on each one of these Marines, and the color can shift a little bit, but it can't shift too far because the two mixing colors I'm using are the same.
Jose says, should I change that? Because I really think I'm missing out on the power of mixing.
Should you change it? What do you mean?
Your mindset? Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Give it a whirl. Give it a test. Just play with it.
100%. Mixing is what will... being able to mix color as you go will make you a better artist from the get. It's just the truth. Yes, you can buy bajillions of colors of paint. We have a bunch. Our competitors have a bunch. There's even more out there. But once you can mix... You're now no longer beholden to anything that's sitting in front of you. You can turn whatever color you need to into whatever other color you're feeling at the moment. And that is a freedom that then really lets creativity flow, right? It's like being able to say my non-metallic steel here is just two colors. That to me is freeing. I can just mix and blend those two colors together as I go, and it is everything I need it to be. So...
NKH says, is your amp steel a blue metal? Backlog of high elves and want that bluish tinge.
Silver and dark silver are. Steel is not. Steel is more gray. Steel is right in between them in brightness, so you could highlight it with our normal silver and get a little bit of a bluish tinge to it. But it on its own is not. You could put a little bit of transparent blue in with it, though, and do wonders, if that's what you're looking for. Oh, show. But our other silvers definitely have more of a blue slant to them. When I say on the channel, for those of you who may not have heard it, and for those of you that have, you'll know I beat you about the head and ears with this. Color is the least important part about painting in the world where we're painting three-dimensional objects. Color is literally the least important part about painting. The most important part is being able to sketch light in terms of value and volume on the model. And that once you get that down, color's easy.
Yeah.
That's why I say, as you're mixing colors, you're really just looking for making sure that the brightness of the color you're mixing right now matches the brightness that you were painting with it before. And as you get good at that, then everything's easy.
Rav says, why do we never see you use washes on stream? He uses washes all the time.
I don't use them all the time.
Use them. You don't never use them, though.
No. I use them very sparingly. Because of the way that I paint from dark to light, most of my shadow is built into the method that I do, so that I don't have to use washes for shading. What I tend to use them for is what's called a filter. On these guys, technically, I use the Bold Pyro Red on the armor as a filter at the end of all my airbrushing. I could have done that as a wash, I just chose to do it with the airbrush. But, I do things like that. But yeah, I don't use a lot of washes for what their initial intent was for. I tend to use them more as filters, so that if I had a, I was doing some leather on something and I wanted the brown to be a little more rich, then I would do a brown wash on it perhaps. Take some of our transparent brown, turn it into a wash and do it on there to change the color of a thing more so than to look for shade. So I just want to make sure people understand when I say wash, a lot of times I'm talking about a color filter, not a shade. And in terms of model, especially wargaming models and Warhammer in particular, when we say wash, a lot of times we're talking about putting a shade on a model like Nuln Oil would do, or Agrax Earthshade or something. I don't do a lot of that. Very rare that you see me do that. Although I've thought about, after we get done with these Blood Angels in the year 2038 or whatever, when we get done with the Blood Angels, I've thought about doing, a lot of people ask about how you can use the glaze wash medium as more of a speed paint alternative. So I've thought about doing a quick process showing you painting some model, I'll pick one, and where we do that. And then, I'll show you how to use the glaze wash medium to turn a lot of our colors into washes that you can use as speed paints or as shades or however you'd like to use them. I think that would help a lot of people out. One more, and then I got to paint them all again.
With using more of a white blue?
Just the pure white blue is next, yeah. Not saying I don't believe me. I myself am struggling to think like that. I'm trying to see it like that, and watching these streams is making me see that, talking about color importance. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's just one of those things that I want to keep front of mind for you, because a lot of what I talk about is value, brightness of color. And I imagine that if you were fully colorblind, like if all you saw was in black and white, you could still be an amazing painter, right? If you could just use dark, mid-tone, and bright paints, you could still create values on there. You would need somebody to set aside, these are your reds, these are your blues, these are your purples, maybe. But if you could paint from dark to light, it's why a lot of times we will do challenges on our Discord that's just paint with white and black, because it focuses you more on how do I make these materials on the model, because this model has metal armor and more metal armor because it's a Space Marine, so bad example. Fantasy models are a lot better, right? Because fantasy models have a lot more material on them. So you can imagine taking something like this and saying, okay, how would I paint this model if the only colors I had were black and white, right? Where I have skin, bone, rope, hair, metal, cloth. I have all these materials on him. How do we go about making this model look like this is cloth and this is skin, and tell them apart when you don't have color to do so? Right? A lot of people tend to paint with the same brush stroke no matter what they're painting, meaning that everything has the same texture. Skin, leather, cloth, metal. You use the same way of brush stroking your paint on, and so the texture that creates, however minimal if you have really smooth blends, or however abrupt if you use big chunky brush strokes, will make all the material look the same visually. It's color that you rely on when you paint that way, right? So the boots, if you strip the color away, look just like the skin. And so what I try to teach is, how can you make that different? If I just gave you black and white, how would you make this look like cloth and this look like skin? You might use smaller brush strokes on the skin so that it gives it a little bit of a finer texture, and then bigger brush strokes on the cloth to make it look like it has big, long, threaded patches on it. And so you start tuning your brain towards using brightness and darkness to find contrast and material with your brushstroke, rather than relying on the color. And then that transmits into, when you're thinking in those terms, on how you mix. And now you're less concerned about, oh my God, if I don't get this one drop to one drop, it's not going to look right. Because you'll realize that it doesn't matter as long as it's the same brightness as the last mix you did, right? Because when you're mixing two colors, right, assuming one of them is a dark color and one of them is a light color, is typically how you're doing that. If you're mixing two colors to get a third color, that may not be the case. But most of our mixing comes from mixing a dark color with a light color to get an in-between version of it, and then layer up to one way or the other. And as you do that, what you're really concerned with is making sure that when I mix these two together, I get another color that has brightness. I've got brightness 1 on my dark color, brightness 2 on my bright color, and when I mix them, I get brightness 3. And then that mix dries up, and I mix them again. I just want to match brightness 3, because there's only two colors, so if you match the brightness, guess what? The color is right. It can't not be right? You match the brightness, and it takes color out of the thought process, right? And because you might change lighting, and so the color looks a little bit different to you than it does on the model. And it's like, what? But brightness will look the same. And if you go by brightness, you'll be guaranteed that the color is in the same range, good to paint with, right? So that's why that painting in black and white, stripping the color out of your mind, tends to help a lot, because it puts you in that mindset of, oh yeah, this gray is the same brightness or darkness as the other gray, so I know it's the right one, kind of a thing. Ravio says, can you clarify how you distinguish texture material with just black and white? Yeah, I think this would be a good time for it. Let me paint this guy with this color, and then I'll take a model and we'll do it.
You got texture trainers up there.
Yeah, I'll use a texture trainer. We'll run through it real quick if you'll give me a minute. Let me just finish my thought process on these guys before we jump to the brighter highlight. Because I think this is going to be very valuable. This is something that is intrinsic to the way I teach painting, to know and to understand, and for you to become a better painter, period. I don't care what technique you use. I don't care who your favorite painter is. None of that. This is something that you can use with everything. Airbrushing, dry brushing, blending, layering, everything. An understanding of value and volume, right, will give you everything you need to separate materials, lighting, everything. It's the hardest thing in the world to learn at face value, and you'll be like, oh my God, once it clicks for you, you'll be like, how did I not know this? Because we come into painting, especially in painting models, right? This world is based around what color? You know, one of the most frequent questions we see rambling around on model posts on the internet and face-to-face is, oh, what color did you use for that blue?
Yeah.
Irrelevant. Doesn't matter. Because you could change the color of that blue and make your model look even better than the blue you see, right? Because it isn't the color that made you say, oh my gosh, that looks rad. Color can have a very visceral effect, right? There's definitely a psychology to color. I'm not saying that that's a lie, right? A model painted in bright, vivid reds is a lot different, you know, in its psychological impression than a model painted in bright green, right? They just have a different inclination because of color. So color is very important in terms of the viewer's interpretation of your work, but it is everything other than color that makes it look cool, right? Texture, light, you know. The color of the OSL doesn't matter if the OSL is done incorrectly. If you don't know how to place light on a model, it doesn't matter if you picked a cool color or not. It's still going to look like you spilled blueberry juice on it, right? So you got to know how to actually place light, how light would be affected or would affect the various areas of the model. And the color of the light is less relevant, you know. Color can be a great storytelling device, but you need to know how to tell the story very well, because color will not carry the day for you. All of us have seen models that are probably painted in really cool colors, but not painted effectively enough to show the dimension or the material, and so you scroll right past them. They don't grab you the way you wish they would. And that's always because of contrast, light, volumes, value, all the things that I'm talking about. All right, there we go.
Do you have one up there?
I probably do.
Yeah, off to
I think I've been pushing one around. Yeah.
Can
I
you
do.
pitch this up for people who are just now tuning in on what exactly you're doing?
Okay, so let's. The idea here is the question was posed because I'm talking about the importance of value and volume, right? Contrast is what comes out of value in your composition, meaning that you place bright colors next to dark colors and it gives contrast. The way you then move that contrast and place it on the model gives what we call volume. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if I put a bright color next to a dark color, it's going to stand out in very broad contrast, and it's going to draw your eye to it. Your eye is attracted to contrast. So the place where bright and dark colors come together is the place where your eye goes first, because there's something happening there. Light, when it acts that way, is doing something cool, as opposed to when it goes long space between your bright and dark color over a smoother surface. The whole surface can be interesting, but your eye is not drawn to any single point on it until it reaches the point of contrast. So you being able to manipulate light and dark and put them in the right combination to match the shape of the model, which we have very luckily in sculptures. We already know the shape because it's in our hand. You can imagine how much more difficult this is when painting a flat canvas. You have to create the shape. So when drawing and painting on a flat canvas and then trying to make something look three-dimensional, your knowledge of all this has to be even greater because you have to create it on your own. Here, the shape is already done for us. It's why zenithal highlighting makes so much sense, because you can take this model, do a quick zenithal highlight on it with white, and now the zenithal shows you where the bright and the dark colors need to go. The bright colors from the sun hit from this direction, and the dark colors hit from this direction. And then you can take a snapshot of that model where the shadows and all go, and then refer back to it to know you're placing your dark and bright colors correctly to match the shape of the model. So that's a great learning tool, right? But the question was asked, okay, so if I'm told that I can learn how to be a better painter by just painting with black and white, how do I tell, or how do I gain the ability to make material look different when I only have two colors? Because I brought up the idea that we use color a lot to distinguish what each material is on the model. I'll paint the armor with a metallic silver. Of course, now it's metal. It looks like metal. I'll paint the boots with brown because boots in brown means leather. And the brain and the eye coordinate that story for you, but you may not be doing yourself a service by painting with the same brush stroke for each of those, because if we took a black and white photo of your model, it would all look exactly the same. One of the tools that many painters use as they get more training and develop their skills is to take a photo of your model and strip all the color out of it, make it black and white, and see if you can still tell the difference between material on your model. So how are you going to do that? Texture. Texture is created out of the ability of your brush strokes to create contrast in various methods to draw the eye to it, to form a recognition of soft versus hard versus furry versus slick, right? Versus dry and cracked. You can do all of that with just your brush stroke. Okay, so we'll do some of that here. Black and white is what I need. Old titanium white, coal black. Two colors, bingo bango. Now you can do this with grays. If you have grays like our dark neutral gray, bright neutral gray, you can use those too, because those are just combinations of black and white. So you don't have to struggle through mixing black and white if you don't feel like doing that. Painting with black, dark gray, mid gray, bright gray, white, all of those colors do the same thing and make you mix less. But a lot of this started out of the idea of mixing, so I'm going to just mix black and white. And feel free to ask questions at any time. Chris will try to rack them up and ask them. I may not get to them right as I'm painting, but we'll work on that.
Yes, I'm going to make sure I get them after the little example. So
I'm going to use a big brush here. Since this model is already painted in black, you can barely, it's our black spray primer, so you can barely tell that it has any details on it at all. And I'm just going to do a mix of, like, we'll call it 75% black, 25% white to get a dark gray here, okay? And I'm going to start with the jeans. We'll just paint this on the pants first. And this is a base coat, so I'm just going to use big sloppy strokes here, just to get coverage.
Can you center up a little, Jason?
No.
Thank you.
I didn't move. Ha-ha! Joke's on you!
You did move a little.
Dang it.
Pants.
We're not really painting the model. So if I miss something, don't yell at me, okay? But we'll get some gray on there. And then I'll add a little bit more white. This is just standard layering, just so I can get color on here, right? Because again, we want to form the base volumes for this. And by doing so, I'm going to, do the standard, like for fabric. I'm just going to catch the high spots of the fabric here. He's got like black denim pants on, maybe. Okay. Pop in a little closer.
Sure.
And then as we go and brighten this up, we're going to want to put some texture on here, right? I want to deviate from my standard brush stroke as we go. so that as I go to my brighter colors, and this is still a very dark gray that I'm using as I mix. We would call this maybe 50-50 at this point. But now, I meant to switch brushes from my big base coat brush. That's a number 6. That's not really great for doing fine detail. Go back to my number 3. Right, and now as I go, I might want to give like a burlap sack kind of a texture to it. So as I do my highlights, I'm going to start doing tighter lines instead of painting in a big broad stroke that goes down this fold in the fabric. I'm using a bunch of very tight lines to start giving it a texture like that. As opposed to just like with the base coat brush, I just went slop and went down. Now I'm going across it so that I can form some contrast, right? And I'll just do this. Very fine lines, gives me some texture, right? We can continue to do that across all of our highlight areas as we see fit. But I want to use that small kind of staccato, if you will, brush stroke, something that's just a bunch of very fine lines stacked next to each other. This is just one texture. You could do stippling here. You could determine what you want. But the idea is to set up in the viewer's mind what this fabric looks and feels like. Because you can imagine when you see something that has all these little lines in it, you can imagine what it feels like to run your finger across it, can't you? Right? It would have like a like little divots in it, like very like I said, sackcloth. You can imagine, right? It's going to have a texture that has a feel. This is why we talk about feel and depth and all of that. You can put textures on a model that the person looking at it will know what it feels like because they've experienced something like this before. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't. You can use texture to evoke a lot of reaction where color can't do that necessarily. Right? Where color on brown boots might say, oh yeah, that looks like leather. Does it really? No, because when you look at leather, it's not just brown, right? Okay, so you can see I've started this micro texture on the jeans. So that's one thing that I always start doing to define my materials. I call this, you'll hear me say material focus a lot. I will choose, especially when doing cloth, what the material wants to look like. Now, I will add more white to this mix to get a brighter gray. So we're mixing our colors up, going up in value, right? So my next layer has to be brighter than my last layer, or why am I painting it, right? And then now I do the same thing. I come in and now I've done these little texture lines. Now I want to make them even smaller and stick to where my highlights go. So I may only do the top edge of that one and the upper part of this fold as well, and maybe taper it down a bit as it goes into shadow. Same thing here. Think in terms of how you would highlight this just normally, right? And only put this texture in the areas you would highlight like that. Then switch over here, do the same thing. Maybe I'm not going to highlight up in here because it's under the crotch, so maybe I get light where I come out this way. Like that. Same thing here, more shadow underneath, and then I kind of highlight as I come out of the crotch area of the leg, and I get my highlights like that. Top of the thigh here, just follow the same direction I did with my other highlights, and then just kind of taper it off so I still get some contrast. And I can add.
So going off of what you're doing here, Jason, so knowing that light is the more important aspect, would you say someone shouldn't rely too much on zenithal shading / base coating?
No, I think the zenithal can literally tell you where the light needs to go. It can be a great starting tool. As you're learning this, I don't tend to use a zenithal because I've been painting so long, I kind of know how to paint volumes, right? I know what light I want to show up. I know where I want my highlight to come from, but that's only through practice, right? So there you go. Now you have highlighted jeans that have texture in black and white, right? Now I can go brighter if I want these to be shiny, right? I can do whatever I need to do here. As a matter of fact, I probably need to bring, maybe on this side, I need to bring this highlight just a little further to match the other side. You get my drift, right? So now we've got a little bit of material focus. That's what the jeans feel like in black and white, okay? So not only have I mixed the black and the white together just on brightness alone, because I don't have hue, right? So I mix it on brightness alone, so I get some volume here. You can see the dark underneath of the folds. You can see the brightness on the top of the folds. You can see the texture because that's where my highlight is, right? And I get something that feels like maybe a waxy pair of jeans. If you've ever worn jeans that have that kind of waxy feel because they've been worn so much, feels like that. Doesn't have a super amount of shine, but it has enough, right? Now, I have metal handcuffs here, right? So how do I use black and white to change that? I only have the same two colors, so the only way to do it is texture, right? So again, I can take some white, mix it in to get a dark gray. So again, call it 75-25, black to white here. And we'll start our base color this way. And my base coats, I typically don't put texture in my base coats. You can. If you're doing brighter colors, you might want to start your texturing with your base coat. I typically start with the next color or the third color with texture, because that's where you can see it. But you want to start your texture before you get to your brightest color. Otherwise, you don't create any contrast that's recognizable, right? Now, metal, as opposed to fabric, has a tendency to be smoother. Now, metal can also be very coarse, and you could do this same hatched texture on the metal, and it would look like it was all scratched and dinged up. But since I've used scratching on the jeans, I don't want to use scratching on the metal, because why? Why wouldn't I do that, Chris?
Because it's not the same kind of material.
It would look the same, though, wouldn't it? If I use
yeah.
the same brush stroke on the metal, even though I want the metal to be scratchy, sometimes you make decisions based on, I don't want this metal to look scratchy because it'll look like my jeans. I chose hatching, this little bitty line texture on my jeans, so I can't use that on anything else that isn't a material similar to jeans. Now, luckily, there's a ton of brush strokes that you can do. Stippling, dry brushing, all sorts of things create different textures. So you can reuse textures. You can make, this is fine hatching. You can do very broad hatching. Very thick hatching will feel different. Stippling will feel more like wool. Stippling tends to make things look soft, right? So you have all sorts of brush strokes that you can use. So we paint that on there. Then I add a little bit more white to my black. Same thing again. I only have these two colors, so I'm stuck going through the exact same palette that I used on the jeans, right? But now I want to think about how light reacts on metal, and so I'll brighten up the areas that face my light source, like so.
So Rav says, so a zenithal can be a nice guideline, but not really show through the layers at the end.
Yeah, you can cover it up entirely if you want to. Some people let it show. You use washes and glazes over a zenithal, and it can continue to show. It typically, by the time you get to your highlights, is less visible, but it can be what separates your shadows and your midtones all the way through the model. At the end, when you're done, you can literally see the black primer through your darkest shadows. It's not pure black. You've glazed some color over it, but it's the distinguishing between the black and the white zenithal that gives you contrast on the model. It's really only when you get to your highlights that become more opaque that you get rid of the zenithal altogether, but it's already done its work. Now, the way I use a zenithal is by the time I put my base coat down, it's gone. And you refer back to the picture, right? So that you can see where the brightness is supposed to be. I use it as kind of a guideline, and that's how I teach it. You know, take the picture of your model once you zenithal. That'll give you the idea of where brightness and darkness should be. Then you can paint however you want. And if you cover the zenithal, just look at the picture. Okay? Mix a little bit more white in there, and just keep stair-stepping this up a little bit here. Again, now I'm not doing any textured brush strokes at all, right? I don't want texture on the metal. Now we're just doing smooth brush strokes. And then I've done, you know, the gray to the point to where now I just jump to white because it's non-metallic metal, so there's no more mix here. We just want to go to pure white. Or bright gray. You might have it be not pure white. Right? And then we just want to grab the uppermost shine areas on this. right? And there's material differentiation with just black and white. Same colors, right? Looks like I use other colors. Those blue jeans almost look like they could have a little bit of blue in them, right? Because how bright I went on the metal versus how dull I kept the jeans. So now with the same black and white, I have now shown you what's metal and what is not metal. And I could continue to do this with leather by using a different texture. Cotton, if I wanted to have his chest rig made out of something else, the metal on his arm, fur, hair, you just keep using different textures. Pop in real close on this.
Let me refocus it.
There you go. Perfect. Right? Bingo. Handcuffs and denim. All done with the exact same colors. No color distinguishing factors at all. I can't use blue for the jeans. I can't use metallic paint for the metal. But I have now shown you without any question in your mind, one is fabric and one is metal. Just by using different brush strokes.
Nice.
Hope that helps. When trying to break a painting barrier and moving into intermediate to high intermediate, should one dump more hours into a model? Practice is key. And I know that sucks to hear, but it really is. You have to practice. You have to practice your brushstroke, like what we've just talked here. Practice your understanding of color. Practice your understanding of reflection. But the big key is, I think, pick one thing that you want to try to get better at and focus on that thing until you nail it, right? Don't try to do a whole model. You can use the same model, but I wouldn't do the whole model, right? Because there's a lot of different techniques and things that are needed in order to do like what I'm doing here. Different brushstroke techniques if you want to go from hatching to stippling to wet blending and all the things that are going to give you different textures. Rather than trying to do them all at once, pick one or pick two that go together very well. And then focus on those on a model and get really good at those. You could pick the things that are going to stand out the most. So if you're painting a lot of Space Marines, pick how to do reflective metal, not necessarily non-metallic metal, but how do you make metal, their armor look shiny. If you're painting Ultramarines blue, you still want to make shiny armor blue, right? So if you're going to do that, how do you make just blue paint look like it has some reflective qualities? So you might, spend some time learning how to do tight reflections and keeping your lines narrow, and getting your brightness to darkness to look like it has that shine to it, even though you're not really doing non-metallic metal. That could be a focus that you want to do. And just do that, bang on it and keep painting the same model over and over and over again until you like it. Take photos every time so you have something to go back and compare to. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, the contrast. Yeah, exactly, Ravulus. The idea is that you're maintaining both brightness, which is that value in that contrast, right? But again, if he pops in close on this, right, the reality is that the contrast that's formed, I can pull it up. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
The contrast is what gives me texture, right? It's this bright line next to a not bright surface that gives me that texture. So I'm creating contrast across the jeans that gives texture that makes it feel like a material. That's how all that pulls together. The same way I'm not using texture, I'm using value and big jumps in value. I'm going to a very bright color, like almost pure white, over a dark gray to make it look like shine, which makes it feel like metal. Whereas here, I did very gradual steps in my grays. I didn't make any big jumps in value, so I don't get this kind of contrast on the jeans. Otherwise, they would look shiny and metal too, and that's not my goal, right? So yes, you're controlling value and texture, right, to create that contrasting view of the model that gives you material focus and makes things look the way that you want them to look. It is as simple as it sounds, but remembering to do it is hard because you have to break yourself out of using that same repeatable brushstroke. You already have that muscle memory of how you put paint on a model, because as beginners, we all start with, I just need to stay in the lines. I just need to stay in the lines. Oh my God, let me stay in the lines. And then you get used to staying at the lines, but you keep the same brushstroke, whether it's gentle or harsh or however you learn to paint, you typically keep the same brushstroke because it became easy and it worked. So your brain keyed on, that was a success, repeat it. So you repeated it and repeated it and repeated it and repeated it, and then it makes it hard to blend because I wasn't blending at first. Well, blending takes a more delicate brushstroke maybe to feather the edges or to do your blending technique. And so now you have to retrain what worked and find another thing that works for this other part, right? And you don't want to forget any of them along the way. So that's where the practice and repetition come in, because you don't want to move from one thing that was valuable and worked, like dry brushing. You learn it. It makes your models look great, but then it becomes not great when you want to get better. But you don't want to forget how to dry brush, because dry brushing comes back and becomes great when you want to do trees and rocks and tanks and things like that. So you don't want to forget it. You want to learn how to use it as the correct tool, right? And then you learn something new and you learn a new brush stroke, but you don't want to forget all the old ones. Because what happens is as you paint the model, you're using all of them at the end is what makes you a great painter, right? The great painters use all of the tools at their disposal. They just know when and where to use them. That's what makes the difference between somebody who thinks they're an amateur. You're learning. Typically, as you're learning, you just aren't remembering all the tools. And you struggle like, it used to make sense to me. And you just say, I need to go back and dry brush or whatever it is, right?
Mo, that's a lot of questions, but I hope you're okay.
Oh, geez. Yeah, Mo. Also, you claim eclectic salmon is on the way. No, there's not. No. All right. But I hope you're okay.
I think it's a good place to end it, Jason. Right on time.
Well, I hope that was a great way to end it, in my opinion, because that was something that I think is one of the major things that we talk about, but until you see it and put it into practice, will always be a hurdle in your understanding of why your models don't progress. You may feel like you're stuck. We get that question a lot. Hey, how do I break through feeling stuck? I feel like my painting reached a level, I was happy with it, but now I want to go further and I'm stuck. What I just showed you is the quintessential way to become unstuck, is to tune your brain to that. Yeah. And that's why I say, let's paint a model all black and white, because we can go through and paint, and maybe we'll do this at some point in time, carry this texture trainer on. I know I saw somebody there that asked to do the belt too. Maybe we can do the whole texture trainer that way. Just black and white, separating all the textures with brushstroke and mixes of black and white so that you can control your value and contrast combinations, and you can make the whole thing look right. And then you'll get to the point where now you'll paint a model in color, take the picture, turn the picture black and white, and you'll see immediately where your mistakes are. Because if all of your colors become flat, all of them just become the same gray, then you know you haven't put contrast on your model correctly. Your shadows aren't dark enough. Your brush strokes aren't giving enough texture. Things all look the same. Fur and skin and hair and everything look the same. And that is one of the biggest aha moments for you as an artist, when you literally take the picture of your model in color when you say it's done, and then turn it black and white and see if the trim stands apart from the armor on the model and stuff like that. It's a really big learning experience, and one that will guide you towards making better decisions for all of your contrast and storytelling. It'll be really, really cool.
Yes, I know we didn't get to some of those questions. I know there was an OSL question in there, but bring them tomorrow. Gabe will be here with Jason tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. It's me and Gabe for Thursday, Friday.
I am gone, so bring all of those. I know we're not going late today. I know we went late the last couple days, but...
Quitting time. Quitting time. I know that's not that song, but can they copyright strike us for that?
Yes. They'll do it for everything. No, they'll do it for the bomb stuff.
Chris has got family in town. Everybody wish Chris a wonderful weekend. He will be gone, having an exhilarating time with family.
It'll be a great time.
Chris, we'll miss you. Have a wonderful weekend.
I will.
Thanks for being so great.
Wink, wink. Disclaimer.
Asterisk.
Take
Asterisk.
that survey.
Read the footnote. Thank you, everybody. If it's your first time here, please click the links to hit the follow button on Twitch, the subscribe button over on YouTube. We stream to both platforms simultaneously Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monument Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona, from wonderful Monument HQ. And we'd love to see you back here. So mark your calendars and your clocks and hit the bells and all the whistles. And then click the links that Chris puts up in chat. We do this stream for free every day. We'd love to have you support us if you can. Next time you need some hobby gear, check out Pro Acryl and the Pro Series brushes. They work tremendously. We made a product years ago that we wanted to use for ourselves, and you see me use it all day, every day live on stream. So there's no better proof in the pudding than watching it happen live. So next time you need a color or a brush, give us a shot. We think you'll love our stuff. Thank you much for the support over the years. Have a wonderful evening. Make sure to join our Discord community, great community of over 6,000 amazing artists just like yourselves over there to make friends with, hang out, tell fart jokes, and get inspired. There's a tremendous amount of amazing models underway right now, as is always the case. So we'd love to see you over on the Discord server as well. And stick around because Chris is going to find us somebody to raid to carry on some more hobby goodness into your evening. Have a wonderful time. Show some love in the chat we wind up in, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow. Adios, gang.